Hey, happy Friday to you guys. As you can see, I'm out here walking right now, and it's actually pretty nice. We got some cloud cover going on right now, so it's making it a little bit cooler. And hope you guys have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. Remember, be sure to check out our website, sambatree.com, where we have a whole line of health and wellness products that we're adding to every day. We just dropped 2 new things this week, and by this weekend, I am actually personally working on this product. I'm very excited about we'll be dropping this weekend as well. And be sure to check out the website, sambatree.com. Okay, so remember how, people have been, if you've been following the news and been online, you could probably count on 10 fingers, 10 toes, and then some of the amount of times people have brought up the 300,000 number of black women who lost their jobs. But again, first of all, I always tell you guys, when it comes to rounded numbers, it's never accurate. It's more than likely more than that. But it's not just black women who are losing their jobs in this economy. There's black men who are losing their jobs. There are white people who are losing their jobs. But more specifically, do you remember earlier this year when we had the whole Doge clean out in Washington, D.C., and they were saying how they were going to get rid of all these departments? People, a lot of people lost their jobs. There were departments that were basically canceled, the whole nine. And we pointed out earlier this year when that stuff was going on that a disproportionate amount of black folks were going to be losing their jobs as a result of that. Not because black people specifically were being targeted, it's because a lot of those jobs traditionally had been held by black folks. And this stems all the way back to going back into the 60s, early 70s. There was a huge hiring that was going on. This is the government's way of somewhat fixing wrongs, so to speak. So they swung the doors wide open for getting black people to get hired for these jobs. In fact, I point to this all the time. Do you remember in the movie I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker? That particular scene when the main character, he goes to the activist.
I'm here because I can't stand what's happening in this community.
Yes!
Yeah, and somebody has to make a change.
Yes!
Now, brother, will you help me?
Yes! Well,
I wish I could. Damn it, man, I heard the People's Revolutionary Army was once 1,000 strong. Now, what happened?
they got government jobs.
What?
You know that government office building on 25th Street?
Yeah?
We went down to take it over. But they were hiring that day. The brothers walked in with guns. They came out with jobs. The brothers weren't mad anymore.
And he's asking for help, and the activist says, well, the people that would have helped us, they all got government jobs. And do you remember in that movie Hollywood Shuffle, that scene when the grandmother was telling the son, there's always work at the post office.
So if you can't take pride in your job, remember, there's always work at the post office.
See, they weren't just talking about, that wasn't just a movie thing. That was a very real thing. A lot of black folks had gotten hired by the government just for all types of jobs. They were coming up with all kinds of positions during those days. And unfortunately, a lot of those positions, quite honestly, weren't really needed. Anybody that's familiar with, doing government work, you know good and doggone well that you have seen with your own eyes the amount of corruption, the amount of nepotism that takes place all the time in these positions. It's nothing new. And so it's funny to sit back and to listen to people online that jump on politicians for practicing this stuff, but nobody really talks about the workers, the federal employees, the state employees, and the amount of stuff that they get away with on a regular basis. But thankfully, there are people who are coming out and they're actually starting to expose this stuff. And so I came across this lady on TikTok, and pretty much her whole page, she's just exposing this stuff. And she has firsthand experience because A, she was involved in it, she was engaged in it, but not only that, her mother was engaged in it as well, as well as other family members. So this is like a whole family affair. But the fact that this woman is now coming out and exposing this stuff is really something. I want you to take a listen to what she had to say. Just a couple of videos that I found where she's actually exposing some of this stuff. Let's take a listen.
Hey y'all, so it is a no makeup day. Regarding the post where I shared that my mother, Marsha Ridley, over 40 years ago now, lied on a government application for DC government back in the day that she had a high school diploma. I am the daughter of a woman that did not graduate high school, and on her DC government application, I don't know if it was called that then, but it is called the DC Form 2000, she lied that she had a high school diploma to get a job and continued to lie from the 70s on up to present day. My mom still works for DC government, but back then it was DC public schools. Now she works as a boiler operator for the DC Department of General Services. And I know some of you went to research my mother, Marsha Ridley, and saw something online saying that she's a mechanical engineer. One thing I'll say right there before what else I'm about to say is that a lot of times the term engineer is used very loosely for maintenance supervisor, building engineer. When you stay at a hotel, if you're having problems with the AC, they say we're going to call the engineer. That is not the same as an engineer who actually goes to school for bachelor's and master's and pursues STEM education for engineering. They just use that term loosely. I assure you my mom is not a mechanical engineer in the sense of a person that went to college and pursued that real title. But the other thing I wanted to say regarding people leaving comments like, oh my gosh, your mother did what she had to do. Your mother had to make sacrifices. That's why she lied on her job application. First thing I want to say right there is DC is just a very different place, and I fucking hate that everybody has this assumption or this belief that black people or black women come from struggle and sacrifice. My mom lied on this job application not because she needed to, because she wanted to. At the time that my mom lied on her job application, my mom was a married homeowner in the Petworth section of Washington, D.C. with 2 cars. Our neighbors included everybody from U.S. postal workers to a presidential appointee named Miss Ann. Our neighbors included teachers, Miss Battle. Our neighbors included Fort Lincoln coaches, Mr. Battle. Our neighbors included Howard University graduates. So I just don't like the assumption that your mom made these sacrifices. She did this, she did this, because it draws on this belief that all black people and black women, we did stuff because we were struggling and sacrificing. No, my mom did this because she wanted to. My mom did this because she was lazy and didn't want to carry her black ass back to school. Even at my mom's age, DC, and DC still does, has programs for DC residents to pursue their GED no matter what age you are for free. My mom just didn't want to, and in the last 40 years, she still hasn't want to and has not. DC Department of General Services found out in 2019, finally, that my mom had been lying about having a high school diploma. I didn't even know my mom didn't have a high school diploma until 2019. They were about to fire her, and they offered to send her to PG County Community College in some type of GED program. And my mom was talking to me like, yeah, you know, I'm going to need you to do my work for me. And my mom some way, somehow used her labor union connections so that she didn't have to get her GED because she didn't want to and feel like going to school. So I just want to put that out there. A lot of those comments under my post sharing that my mom does not have a high school diploma, y'all bitches up in there that don't know me or my mama talking about we had to struggle and sacrifice. That's inaccurate. My mom lied on her job application because she wanted to and she did not feel like going back to school. Peace.
So see, one thing about me is I just want to get to the truth. You know what I mean? It's like when I look at the amount of things our people have gone through, I don't have time for no game. I don't have time for games. You know what I'm saying? So if there are liars amongst us, if there are people out here that are not telling the whole truth, if there are people that are still sitting on nonsense, those people need to be exposed, plain and simple.
Hey y'all, so I wanted to do the story time, but I was about to leave this in the form of a comment. I'm having iced coffee with a shot, no oat milk, because the oat milk is highly caloric, about some of the fucked up things that I believe that I've done in my career and my service to my city, Washington, D.C., and people. As I mentioned, I worked for Washington, D.C. Mayor Adrian Fenty. I was his Ward 6 Community Relations Staffer, or Ward 6 Community Liaison. Ward 6 is the only ward in Washington, D.C. that taps into every corridor. So I had everything from Capitol Hill to Southwest to the K Street area, which I believe they were calling that redevelopment area City Vista. And when I worked for Mayor Adrian Fenty, over in that City Vista area, maybe like on 3rd and K, I can't remember exactly where the address, but there was a parcel of land that Mayor Adrian Fenty wanted to get for a development friend, associate, etc. But on that parcel of land, there was a black mechanic shop. It was very small, but he always had cars there, so I believe business was booming. And I'm sure if he sees this, he remembers me and he knows the story I'm about to tell. So Adrian Fenty instructed me to constantly go by that shop and look for any infractions where he could be issued citations, fines from the DC Police Department, DC Department of Transportation, or DC Department of Public Works. Those are all agencies, and there are others that can issue substantive, expensive as fines. So the goal was, and I'm not sure if the law here helped me with this, if a business in DC repeatedly gets fines, continues to get infractions, I don't know if it's easier to commandeer that business or place liens on it. I don't know the law there, but I'm telling you what Adrian Fenty instructed me to do. So almost every day I was going by this business, and in my DC government vehicle, I was given a vehicle. If the business owner, if the car mechanic had cars edged out on the sidewalk, like the butt of the car, there was trash, or sometimes I was making up stuff, and I would just call because I was a mayor's office employee. Anytime I called DC Police, DPW, DC Department of Transportation, they would send an employee in seconds to come issue fines in the amounts of $300 to thousands of dollars, so that this black man business owner was getting these back-to-back fines. And he saw me, and this man knew that I was doing this. Anyways, a few months after I was fired for working for Mayor Adrian Fenty, I was right near this man's auto shop, and my friend, the battery in his car died completely. And this man, who I had got a bunch of fines, he was probably in debt by then, came over. He's a mechanic. He had some lightly used car batteries in there, and replaced the battery in my friend's car. And we tried to offer him some money, and he said, "No, I'm good, sis," and gave me some eye contact. And a few months after that, his business was shut down. And it may have not been the business shut down, but he couldn't afford to pay all the fines that I had orchestrated his business getting. Peace. That's my presumption as to why Muriel doesn't like me. And I did post about John Falchacchio and his sexual harassment. Y'all know John Falchacchio. Hey, Green Team, John, he's the Washington, D.C. Diddy. And I also don't like, with Muriel, almost all of the women, this is not hearsay, that John Falchacchio, her right-hand man, that my best friend sexually assaulted. We're not going to use the word abuse. They were black women employees. And Muriel knew that shit. And John is nasty. One DC government employee in here tell me that John Falchacchio is not nastier than Diddy. Oh, nasty self. Let that white man do all that stuff with black women with his little fat, nasty self. They protected John very well. John used to be my boss. He knew who to mess with, because I would have caught a case. I would have had a body on me. He tried any of that shit. Black girls, he messed with her younger. The women, John's victims, we're going to call them what they are, victims, were a bit younger. John is powerful, though. And another thing a lot of people may not know, with DC government offers, for any position, offers some of the highest government salaries in the country. Even for our social workers in DC, they have some of the highest salaries. And I don't know, for money, some people might be like, okay, this white boy can come on me, and I'll let him come on me to keep my six-figure salary. And we speaking freely. I mean, it's in the newspaper what he was doing at work. You guys probably don't want to hear me talk like that, but that's what he did in the workplace. He sexually assaulted black women DC government employees. And the sexual assault that he did is just sexual assault, period. I don't want to give it levels. Was disgusting. He was making women come into his office and watch him jerk off and coming on them on government time. And then when they didn't give in to him, he was threatening to fire them or not inviting them to different events and stuff like that. And I'm not excusing it, but you don't know what kind of situation people are in, and they have to put up with shit like that to keep their 6-figure salary. And one woman finally, she played into it because she wanted to keep her job, but she saved every text message and video his nasty ass sent. And I think she got some lawyer that's on the level of like Gloria Allred or whatever, and got a big ass payout and was able to keep her DC government job. I don't like the statement that sexual assault victims did things for money. Those women may have did that for security. Those women may have had a mother in the hospital dying. Or they could have just been greedy bitches like Casey. What's her name? Is it Cassie or Casey? I don't think she's a victim. I said it. I just don't think she's a victim.
But this is the kind of stuff that I talk about, that I am constantly dealing with here on this platform when I'm talking to folks, is we have to be honest with stuff like that, because again, I'm not saying all black culture. I'm saying there is a segment within what we call black culture where we allow that to persist. Am I saying that black people are the only people that do that? No. You'll find white people that do that stuff. You'll find Hispanics that practice that stuff as well, but we're not looking at them. We're looking at us. They do not set the standard for us. We're the only people that when we get caught in our mess, we will always say, but them, but them, but them. You never do that. If I'm dealing with my stuff in my house, I'm not pointing to someone across the street. It starts in my own house. And this is the mindset, the mentality that we're going to need if we're serious about fixing this stuff. But anyway, I'm glad this woman is coming out and she's exposing a lot of this stuff. I'll put her information on the screen there. You can follow her on TikTok because she has a whole lot of stuff to say. And she's coming out and even acknowledging a lot of the mess that she was involved in. And I'm just glad that people are starting to come out and to expose this stuff.